podcast where we drink beer and talk about conspiracy theories. My name is John.
This is Jake.
And we have another episode for you guys today. We're going to be talking about some weird shit.
It is an episode. Another one in the series.
And we talk about weird shit. So
we're just going to keep doing these.
Yeah. Just going to keep on going.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as always, we're going to start out with talking about the beer. And I have a special weird plan for you guys today, which Jake doesn't really know about. So
I have been surprised.
He is as well going to be surprised. So let me start by asking a question. So sitting in front of Jake and myself right now, there are 4 glasses and they all have a very brown looking liquid in them. And so the question is, we're doing an experiment today. In a previous episode, we talked about Trophy's special edition release of Milky Way, their flagship stout. But it was a pumpkin spice version of it. So we've talked about the pumpkin spice version of Milky Way, but we have not talked about normal Milky Way. And during that same episode, I talked about that I don't really like Milky Way that much, but they make another beer. And I think in that episode, I called it a horchata porter, and it's actually a horchata stout. And I now know the name of it.
Oh.
It is called El Hombre.
Hombre.
And so recently, Trophy re-released El Hombre in the can and also Milky Way in the can. And I was able to locate some leftover pumpkin spice Milky Way from a friend who still had some in the can. And so we are going to do an experiment. Because in the previous episode, I talked about how I don't really like Milky Way, but I do like Milky Way if you mix it with El Hombre, 50-50.
You did mention that before.
I did.
And you sent me photos when you got all these.
I did.
And apparently they'll do this at the tap.
Yeah. So if you go into Trophy's tap room, this is one of those ones where it's like they don't have it on the menu and they won't really tell you to do it. But if you're into like mixing beers together or whatever, this is one that they do for themselves.
Did they like blink at all, or they were just like, okay?
Oh, no, they did not blink at all.
Okay,
I was
gotcha.
like, because I went in there the other day, I was like out running some errands, just doing some shit or whatever. And I saw on their Instagram that they had re-released El Hombre. So I wanted to go by and see if I could get some. And then they had Milky Way there too. So I decided to stay. I got a cheesesteak from Mr. Cheesesteak, which is like a really dope food truck that comes by around sometimes. And yeah, so I got a 4-pack of El Hombre, 4-pack of Milky Way. And then I was like, yeah, I mean, if I'm here and I'm going to be eating a cheesesteak, you know,
might as well.
Yeah, let me refresh my memory. Let me get that 50-50 El Hombre Milky Way.
And no blinking.
No blinking at all.
That's
None.
awesome.
Yeah, they were just like, oh yeah, that's dope.
I wonder if you just chose 2 random beers and asked them to mix them, if they're just like, whatever.
I don't know.
We should try that.
We can.
Yeah. Okay.
We can go over there and just be like, will you mix Trophy Husband with, I don't know, some other weird fucking beer?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I've
We'll
never
see.
tried just like mixing something weird like that. I always mix stuff that at least kind of seems like it's going to be good.
Yeah. Like black and tans and snake bites and what's the PBR mix? There's a black and blue when you mix Guinness and PBR.
Oh, I've never heard that one. I know we've talked about the mixing PBR with pomegranate juice.
Yes. Yeah.
So sitting in front, getting back to the beer. So sitting in front of Jake and I.
Unlabeled.
Not labeled. Currently.
Not labeled.
Yeah. So sitting in front of Jake and I are 4 glasses. They have brown shit in them. And I know what is in each glass. And Jake does not. And this is an experiment of, the different beers that I have on the table right now. And so the question for Jake is, do you want to know the order and we just do the experiment? Or do you want to play a game?
I definitely want to play a game.
Okay. So, all right. So,
because I've never had Hombre.
Yeah.
I've had the pumpkin spice. I've had the Milky Way.
Yeah.
So
I've had all of them at this point, except for El Hombre and pumpkin spice Milky Way.
I feel like that'll be an easy one to pick out.
Probably.
Because obviously
you'll be able to taste the pumpkin, yeah.
Do I have a whole one? Is one of these a whole pumpkin spice?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, we could do that, but we already talked about pumpkin spice before.
No, I was just
so
curious
didn't
what the makeup was.
Okay.
But I guess I have to guess it. So it's
Yeah.
Okay.
So, do you want me to tell
lay out your rules.
Okay, I'll lay out the rules. All right. So it's going to be a mystery now. So it's a beer experiment mystery. So in the 4 glasses, there is one that is just El Hombre, which is a horchata stout. There is one which is just Milky Way, which is a salted caramel sweet stout. Then there's one that is 50-50 El Hombre and Milky Way. And then there's one that is 50-50 El Hombre and pumpkin spice Milky Way.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now, let's talk about trophy a little bit. Let's talk about the cans a little bit. Let's talk about the ABV and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we are going to officially get fucked up because between these 4 glasses, between the both of us, there is 4 entire tall boys.
So we're looking at what, 64 ounces of beer here. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Split up 32. So it's a 30. It's a Florida 40.
Yeah,
worth.
But I mean, we're talking. Well, okay. So I was assuming that we were going to get a little more fucked up than I think. So all right, let's
Milky
start.
Way is like 6%, right? It's like
5.5.
5.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hombre's 7, I think.
Yes.
7. Okay.
Yeah. So all right. So let's talk about the cans real quick. So
yeah.
These are all stouts. El Hombre, which we've already said is a horchata stout, 7% ABV. I like this can a lot.
I do.
It's really cool. It has a blue. It has like a nice like Carolina Panthers, almost kind of blue bar around the bottom. Trophy logo at the bottom, and then the top part of this can is this really interesting like grayish. You know what I mean? It's like a
the
gray
walls
beige.
of my living room are this color. It's called agreeable gray. Apparently, it's the most popular color Lowe's sells.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I mean, gray and blue are like huge right now. Like when I got married in 2015, our wedding colors were like slate gray and seafoam.
Yeah. And now everyone has the fake wood floors that are gray.
All right. So back to the El Hombre can. So the top part of it is like this kind of grayish color. And then El Hombre is spelled out in this kind of like almost
American,
like that.
It's American Sign Language.
Yeah, so it's in American Sign Language, but then there's also the letters, and the letters have that kind of like Great Gatsby kind of thing going along, where it's like that early 20s, like the block letter with the line in the middle. And that's basically the whole can. It says Drink Trophy Beer on the side. There's not really a description of what it tastes like, but it's brewed with almonds and lactose, 7%, brewed in Raleigh, and All right, so second up, we have Milky Way. So this is a salted caramel sweet stout, 5.3% ABV. Also a really cool can. So the bottom half of it is like kind of a taupe caramel khaki, dark khaki kind of color. Almost like a coyote brown, but a little more browner. Then that trophy logo at the bottom says Milky Way in this really like spacey looking font. And then the top half of the can is like a really dark brown. And then it has like constellations all in the back. It's really cool.
It's hard to tell because the letters they use, but the Milky Way font is like the NASA font.
Oh, I was like, that's so spacey.
Yeah,
it's the NASA font.
Yeah, it's unusual because you don't see an S or another, or you
don't see a W or a Y. Or
NASA doesn't have W's and K's, so you don't really see that.
Yeah, it threw me off. The A, I guess, would have been like a dead giveaway though. But yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to this can. It's cool. It's a cool looking label,
and it's one of their standards.
Yeah. And so that is basically Milky Way. And then just as a reminder, the pumpkin spice version of Milky Way, same font, says Milky Way. It's a totally dark brown can, and it has pumpkins on it.
Like the trees are replaced with pumpkins kind of thing.
Yeah, and it has like a burnt bronze logo. And that one's looking cool too. All right, so I figure we start left to right, and then I don't really have rules from here.
Okay.
So my left and your left are the same.
So this one right here.
This one, yeah.
Okay. So these are the same. So we're same left to right.
Yes, we are same left to right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I figure we'll just start left to right, and then we can like take a couple sips on them, and then I don't know, just like talk about it, or you can guess which one you think it is, or whatever.
Right. Why don't
Do you want me to
Since
tell
I
you
don't
at
know.
the end which is right, or as we're going if you're right?
No, let's do no, because then I can do process of elimination. So
Okay.
let's do I'll do a taste of each one and we'll guess as we go.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
I'm taking
So starting with the
number
first one. All right. So
Okay,
we're gonna
here we
take a
go.
little 2-3 seconds here to take a sip. So Jake's taking his sip. Now I'm gonna take my sip. That's tasty.
Yeah, I think that's the straight up Milky Way.
Okay. I'm hearing you. I'm not telling you if you're right or not. But
No,
I'm
no,
hearing
because we
you.
got to keep going.
All right. Oh, okay. We're switching now.
I should have had a
Going
glass
to
of
this side.
water so I could cleanse the palate between each one.
I'm sorry. I'm not prepared enough for this.
You've never done wine tasting in Napa, have you?
Do I look like I would do wine tasting in Napa?
Okay, wait. Now I think this is the straight up Milky Way.
Tasty.
You're just eyeballing me now.
I know. I'm not.
They're all
telling you.
going to be blended together. Okay, hold on.
I know.
Gotta swish.
You're wrong. They're all.
They're all Guinness.
They're all Guinness. Totally different, right?
Yeah. That one's completely out of left field. Okay.
Yeah,
but it's I don't think there's pumpkin in that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. So after we sip, then we'll talk about them while we're drinking them, I guess.
Oh, this one is totally. I can smell it already.
Yeah. Okay. I apologize to everybody listening for all the breaks, but I mean, we're experimenting right now.
This has to be the pumpkin one. It's like obscene.
Oh God.
Right?
Yeah.
I kind of just want to chug that one and get it out of the way or like move it over here.
Or you don't have to drink it at all.
All right, hold on. Okay.
All right,
I'm
going to keep following you. Whichever one
I'm
you're
gonna go back to
drinking,
number one.
I'm going to drink. All right. So we're back on number 1 now. I feel bad you
We
guys
should-
can't see us doing
We should.
it.
I'm going to take a photo so we can put it up when this comes out. I'm going to take a photo here. Okay. And we'll put that up. We'll put that up on Instagram so you guys know what's going on here.
Jake is so scientific. He keeps
Okay.
smelling them and he's like, I can see he's trying to like figure it out.
Yeah, I'm working on this.
It's so fun for me because I know.
I know.
I know
You're in
at
the
the
power position here.
Well, what do you think about what did you think about that last one? Give me a little bit, couple notes.
The
on
one
it.
we eliminated, or
No, the first-
Okay,
the
first one.
first one,
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm thinking this one might be the Ombre Milky Way one,
Okay.
because there's a little bit of like differentness to it, like it's a little different.
Okay.
And I'm thinking psychologically, you may put the mix at the beginning to preload it because
Okay.
you think maybe he'll want to get a taste of it first, and then it won't affect the ones later down the line.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
We'll
guess,
see. We'll
yeah,
see.
we'll find out. All right. So now we're moving back on to number 2.
We're on number 2.
Again. Yeah.
See, this one has a little bit more like a bite to it, kind of like the way seltzer has a bite to it. The carbonation is a little stronger.
Yeah. Okay. I can see
I don't know
that.
what that means.
Yeah.
Maybe it means it's not mixed.
Maybe.
So maybe that would mean that it's the original Milky Way.
Thoughts? We're on number 3 now.
Yeah. Okay. So one is
Yeah. All right. So
one is mixed, Ombre and Milky Way.
Okay.
One is Milky Way and one is Ombre. No, I'm asking. That's a question.
Yes.
That's what we're working with. So
Yes.
We've eliminated the this is obviously
so
the
number
pumpkin.
4, I will go ahead and tell you, is absolutely the half El Hombre, half pumpkin spice.
Yeah,
And
you can tell-
I have
you
to
can-
say,
Yeah, the pumpkin's in there.
it's
very strong.
slightly less horrible than the beer by itself, but
Yeah.
it's still horrible.
The pumpkin. I think I was the one that drank the whole can of the pumpkin last time.
I think you did because I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah. You tapped out of it,
And I
Now-
feel so bad because I just really love Trophy a lot. Like, it's sort of an obscene amount of,
Well, I looked back
like
today,
that. I
and we've
like
talked
it.
about Trophy more than any other brewery.
oh, sorry.
It's not a bad thing. It's just,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's one we prefer.
Yeah. Back to the beer. So,
We're on the experiment still. Yeah.
what do you think?
Okay.
Have you made a consensus? Do
Wait,
you
hold on.
think
Let me
you
let me
know?
do the number 3 again.
All right. He's going back for one more.
Okay. So just for clarification, we have one Ombre,
Yes.
one Milky Way,
Yes.
and one mix.
Yes. And we
Okay.
have the one pumpkin spice mix, but we
already know.
clearly know which
Yeah.
one that is.
That was like I could smell the pumpkin before I even got to my face.
Well,
okay.
there's a wonder why I put it last.
Yeah. See, so I think psychologically I'm feeling it a little. Okay, so
yeah.
I'm gonna go. Number 1 is the Ombre regular.
Okay.
Number 2 is wait a second. Let me sip it again real quick.
All right. All right.
Okay. Number 2 is the regular Milky Way,
Okay.
and number 3 is the Ombre.
You fucking nailed it.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's exactly true.
perfect.
That's exactly
amazing.
right.
Yeah. So,
the, so the order was El Hombre was number 1. Milky Way was number 2. Milky Way and El Hombre mixed 50-50 was number 3. And Pumpkin Spice Milky Way with El Hombre mixed was number 4.
okay. Yeah.
Because I wanted you to get a taste of the 2 beers alone before you got a taste of them mixed.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to put pumpkin spice at the beginning because it would just totally
It
fuck
ruins
up your
everything,
mouth. Yeah.
Look at that.
You fucking nailed it. All right. So let's take a step back now and actually talk about the beer. So what do you think about El Hombre?
I like it. I'm a fan. It's I wish it was more ombre'd.
I do too. I wish it was a little more. It had a little more rice. Had a little more cream.
Yes.
It had a little more like cinnamon kind of going on. You know what I mean?
So it's a lactosey stout. Like there's definitely lactose there. I want it to have more substance for sure. You know.
I mean, I recalled it as being a porter.
Yeah.
So that kind of tells you what kind of consistency we're talking about.
Right. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but I'm a fan. I don't hate it. I would drink a couple. You know, it's not bad.
I definitely like it more this time around because in the past I was like, nope.
Oh, really?
Nuh-uh. But
what was the reasoning? Do you remember?
I'm just not a huge stout guy. There's something weird about it to me. But like, I don't know. It's cold. It's wintertimey. Like these have sat. I mean, these are room temp at this point almost.
They're pretty close, yeah.
And I mean, yeah, there's like maybe just barely under room temp. But I mean, room temp in my garage is like 40 degrees. So
it's actually pretty comfortable today.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, my feet are kind of cold in my Vans, but yeah. All right. So it's good.
I'm a fan. I would get more. I would go over to Trophy and pick some up.
All right. So how about Milky Way?
The mix. Okay. So
this is the
straight Milky Way.
Yeah, the OG straight Milky Way.
So I remember Milky Way being sweeter.
Okay.
The last time I haven't had it for about a year, because I remember it being like this salted caramel stout.
It's a salted caramel sweet stout.
Sweet stout, and I remember it being more sweet.
Okay.
And maybe it was where I was at or what I was doing, but
yeah,
I enjoy this a lot more.
Maybe it's because you hadn't had 4 different stout mixes all at one time.
But I enjoy this a lot more than I did before.
I've never
it's a little more
that it was that sweet.
Yeah, so maybe I'm mistaken. I might be mixing it. I haven't had it in like a year. So
I mean, yeah,
I had it the last time I went to Trophy, which was before COVID. So
no, because we went to Trophy to have pizza.
No, I meant the other Trophy.
The Trophy on Maywood.
I went there.
Yeah. I just love that
a
place
million
so
years
much.
ago.
It has such a good vibe.
Yeah, I went there. They were having some sort of like bicycle sale with like a bunch of like open art exhibits or something.
Okay, cool.
It was cool. And I had some, and I remember it being very sweet, but this isn't.
Okay.
Which I enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say this is really not any sweeter. It's sweeter than El Hombre.
Yeah. So if I had a choice, so if it was like, hey, okay, so we're going to put in front of you a Milky Way or a Guinness. You know, Guinness is a dry stout, no lactose in it or anything, but like, you know, they're both in the 5-ish range.
Sure.
I would take a Guinness over, I would take a Milky Way over a Guinness, better flavor, you know?
Yeah. I was actually just thinking in my head, I was like, I'd probably take a Guinness. But that's just because my brain is like, you don't like Milky Way. But I really don't like Guinness more. You know,
really?
So yeah, it's so weird. I guess I'm just like, I'm Irish as fuck. I should like Guinness.
Yeah.
Okay, so Milky Way, thumbs up?
Yeah, I would drink another one of these. I like it.
I like it. I mean, there's a reason that these 2 beers keep coming back.
Yeah.
They're super good.
It's solid. It's a solid. It's a good thing to have on your menu all the time.
Yeah. I definitely so they're more seasonal though. They don't stay all the time. Because Trophy Wife and Trophy Husband stay on all the time.
Yeah.
But El Hombre, I always like it when it comes back. Milky Way, people really like it when it does come back.
Yeah. It's like the seasons have changed and you realize it.
I'm not one of those ones that's like, oh fuck, Milky Way's out. You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know. It's good. I prefer the mix, I think, over both.
I think I'm going to take another step here. Yeah, it kind of like so my initial statements were like the Milky Way alone has too much like carbonation in it.
Okay.
It felt like
I would never have even thought
it felt a little more bubbly.
Okay.
Like if you taste them one after another, there's
Yeah.
more of a bite to it or something.
Okay.
The El Hombre is smoother. And then when you mix them together, but it's almost like too smooth. It's like almost too flat.
Okay.
And then when you mix them together, it kind of like hits right in that middle. And since they're
It
both,
just hits different.
yeah, since they're both kind of the same thing and the flavors aren't wildly off,
Yeah.
like I think it mixes together pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I've basically been like, I cannot wait for this experiment.
Right.
Because these two mixed together is like,
I'm a fan.
bomb.
I'm into it.
I've never done this experiment though.
Yeah.
I'm also getting a little bit lit. I drank we still have not talked about juiciness from Sycamore, but
We haven't? No, we haven't, have we?
No.
Do you still have any left?
yeah.
Do you have one can you're hiding somewhere?
No. I have 12 cans
Oh, okay.
of the bad batch.
Oh, the bad ones.
Yeah,
Oh, are
and
they
I have-
getting replaced?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got them replaced. I have 2 cans of the good ones in my fridge.
Okay.
But yeah, we still haven't talked about that whole juiciness debacle,
Okay.
which we said we were going to talk about, but I haven't. So we'll put it
We
on
will.
the list. Eventually, we'll talk about
We
it.
will. I think we said we were going to talk about it next episode in
Or
episode
episode
4.
6 episodes ago.
Yeah.
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 Well, it's hard to remember. I don't know.
Yeah. It's fun.
Whatever.
We did a thing.
But yeah, so moving on to the next phase of the show, I guess. We're talking about a conspiracy now. So, and again, I don't know shit about this one, which is weird because I'm fucking from here.
This is your space.
It is, but I hate the area. It's weird to say that I hate any part of North Carolina, but if
It's a
there's
weird
a part
area.
of North Carolina I don't like, this is it. And this story comes from that area. So,
I drove down there to look at a car that I was going to buy, and
was this the 300ZX?
yeah, didn't like
God.
that spot at all.
I
down
probably
there.
could have told you were going to get yourself into a dumper going down there.
Yeah, it's. I got down there and I was just like, I don't trust the place. I don't trust the car.
Negatory. But yeah, so Jake, what are we talking about?
All right, so this is the elusive Beast of Bladenboro. Did we go with Bladenboro? Is that where we were?
Bladenboro?
I think we went with Bladenboro. We Googled it before and we read a couple different ones and we found all these weird pronunciations ranging from Bladenboro to Bladenboro to Bloodenboro.
I'm from here, and I'm just telling you,
It's weird,
some
right?
of the towns in this place have the most fucked up pronunciations.
Yeah.
And I mean, being from here, I know probably not even most of them. I know a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But I looked at this one, I was like, Bladenboro? I don't fucking know. It's near Fayetteville, which is
Yeah.
where Fort Bragg is, and that's
Yeah.
a spot you don't want to go. So
Yeah, it's a little rough down there. So anyways, this is down that area. So moving backwards in time to kind of December of 1953, there was a lot of controversy in the area because people's dogs started dying randomly. Goats.
well, just dying or
No, horribly murdered.
getting mauled.
Horribly murdered and mauled, not dying. Not
They
just,
were getting where mauled.
they were taking a nap and drifted off. No, they were like the descriptions that I read in the newspapers.
Just death for no reason.
Yeah, the descriptions I read ranged from their faces literally being ripped in half and jawbones being pulled apart to like spines being pulled out of the back. Like those were some of the.
Oh my god!
And these were like,
bro, that's gnarly.
these were mom and pop newspapers making these descriptions. So
Oh, that's gnarly.
yeah, so nothing really nice happened to any of these animals. So it was goats, dogs.
That's so sad because I just love puppies so much.
Yeah, I got 3 dogs. I know how it is, man. And so luckily no humans were injured in the making of this story. Which this is a factual story. There's photos of
That's
most
so
of these
surprising.
dead animals. Yeah, usually people die all the time.
All puppies and no people.
So
And if you know me, you know I think puppies are better than people.
sometimes. So the first of these deaths related to the Beast of Bladenboro were reported back on December 29th, 1953. Witnesses that saw this creature described it as sleek, possibly black, 5 feet long. And the first death was around 8 miles from Bladenboro in a town called Clarkton, which I think is right next to where I looked at that 300Z. And so it killed a dog there. And 2 days later, on December 31st, The two dogs belonging to a resident of Bladenboro were found dead with a significant amount of blood missing near their kennels. The owners reported that the dogs were, quote unquote, torn into ribbons and crushed. And here's a direct quote from the owners of those dogs. This was pulled from a newspaper at the time. He said, and I'm kind of surprised because usually you look at a newspaper nowadays and they quote like a sentence. Back in the 50s, they would let people go on. Like there was like 3-paragraph long quotes from people.
There was no OLN to just let people come out and blast.
No. They just like let people go. So here's this guy's lengthy quote that appeared in the newspaper at the time. My dogs put up a good fight. There was blood all over the porch, big puddles of it, and there was a pool of saliva on the porch. It killed one dog at 10:30 and left it lying there. My dad wrapped the dog up in a blanket. That thing came back and got that dog, and nobody's seen the dog since. At 1:30 in the morning, it came back and killed my other dog and took it off too. We found it 3 days later in a hedgerow. The top of one of the dog's heads was torn off, and its body was completely crushed and wet like it had been in that thing's mouth. The other dog's lower jaw was completely split and torn off. So, brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty clear to me that we are talking about a werewolf.
Right. I mean, something kind of big, right? I mean, because, these obviously aren't like min pins or something. Like, these are farmers.
Yeah, this isn't a shih tzu.
Right. These are farmers' dogs. So you're thinking
they're
like
hunting
a large
dogs. They're
like a hound, a shepherd, a retriever.
They're herding dogs. They're like probably bigger than Steve.
Probably.
Which Steve is my dog. It's
a good sized dog.
He's some kind of dumpster mutt, and I've never cared to know what he is. But my wife, after 8 years, talked me into getting him a fucking doggy DNA test. So I'm about to find out what he is.
All Pomeranian.
There's 100% chance that he's just like a werewolf Pomeranian. I don't know. I don't know if I want to know, but maybe I'll tell you guys when I find out.
It's easy. My dogs are all pit bulls. Like it's super. Like they're so noticeably pit bulls. It's like
I love pitties.
Yeah, they're
the best.
Yeah. So, anyways, this dude who horribly had his dogs just ripped apart. The next day on New Year's Day in 1954, 2 more dogs were found dead at a local farm, and that night, a farmer reported that his dog too had been killed. So, I mean, we're talking like we're getting up into like the 8 dogs or so. The next day, 2 more dogs were found dead, and an autopsy was performed on one of the dogs, and it reported that, and this is a direct quote from the vet, from the newspaper, there wasn't more than 2 or 3 drops of blood in him. The dog's bottom lip had been broken open and his jawbone smashed entirely back. I don't even know entirely what that means.
I'm not sure either.
But it sounds brutal. It's gross.
Yeah.
So further deaths were reported in the subsequent days, and on the night of January 5th, 1954, a pet rabbit was found cleanly decapitated and still warm.
Oh, shit. And cleanly decapitated.
Cleanly taken up like a little just chop.
Just pop.
And wait, it's a little bunny boo boo and his head went popping up. Whatever.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And so the day after that, a dog was found in a pasture near the Bladenboro swamp. And then a few goats were reported to have died. One of the goats was found with its head completely flattened. And one of the descriptions in the newspaper by one of the hunters that was out in the area said that when he found the goat, its head was, quote unquote, flat as a fritter.
I don't even know what that means.
I guess like an apple fritter. It's like squished.
I don't know. They're not that flat now, though. I wonder. I don't know.
But compared to a goat's head, like looking at an apple fritter next to a goat's head.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. That's one of those ones. All right. If you have a grandma that knows what flat as a fritter means, please tell us. I gotta know. I don't have any grandparents left, so I don't have any old people to ask. But if you know an old person, ask them what flat as a fritter means.
Tell them to send us a photo of them holding their hands as close together as a fritter would be, so we can see how flat a fritter would be.
Or maybe they'd hold up like a piece of paper or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Or just send us a picture of a fritter.
Because like some of these older sayings, like what's it called? Like when you say flat as a fritter. What's that like?
A saying? Is there another word?
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely like one of those literary devices. Like there's got to
Yeah.
be a name for it. And
Like you could swing a dead cat around here and not hit a guy with a taco. Like, never heard that one? Is that a new one?
No. There's one that I say all the time. My wife hates it. I say, and it's, if you know where the saying's from, you'll think it's funny, but I always say, it's mind bottling.
Bottling? Like you're putting it in a bottle?
Yes. It's like my mind is trapped in a bottle.
I'm definitely not some sort of wording expert, but I did go to college. And I feel like bottling is not the proper second part of mind.
I know that it's supposed to be mind boggling, but it's so funny to me to say mind bottling. But 99% of what's funny to me about it is that it pisses my wife off.
I mean, usually
she thinks
that's
it's so stupid. She's just
that's
like,
what
why
makes
are
it
you
funny.
saying that? It's mind boggling, not bottling. It's pissing me off that you're saying bottling. But
you should just look at her and be like, haha, hoisted by your own petard, and just walk away. just throw something entirely different at her.
But no, I say that because it's from Anchorman.
Oh, is that where it's from?
Yeah, he says it's mind bottling. It's like my mind is trapped in a bottle.
Is that the guy from Office? Is he the one who said it?
No, it's Will Ferrell.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't know why. I think that's so hilarious.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the ripped apart dogs.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm losing it right now because I'm like so many stouts deep right now. I'm fucking lit as shit. But it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Let's keep going.
We're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in the next we already talked about the rabbit that was cleanly decapitated. So they found the goat, the rabbits, the one with its head flat as a fritter. And then once all these bodies started piling up and people were like, we got to do something about all these dead dogs and dead animals, locals started actually spotting this thing. So one local described the animal as about 4.5 feet long, bushy, and resembling either a bear or a panther, which I'm not a veterinarian, but bears and panthers are a little different.
We also have both of those here.
That's true.
Bears and panthers both live in North Carolina.
That's true. Panthers are much more rare though around here.
Yeah.
And are there many bears down by Bladenboro? I feel like that's not really a bear hotspot.
I don't know.
I suppose it could be. I mean,
yeah. I mean, so we have brown, black. No, we have black bears.
We have
here.
black bears. Yeah.
I think they mostly stick like, Winston-Salem West.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say they're not here.
They could be. They could take a vacation, head over.
Probably not.
Try to get to the beach.
I think the furthest east they really go is like, what is that fucking place called? Like Linville.
Okay.
Which,
Makes
if you
sense.
guys don't know about that place, you can Google it. Linville Gorge.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
It's full of bears.
It is full of bears. I had God, I'm sorry. I want to go off on another tangent, but when I was in college, I had a couple of fraternity brothers of mine go and camp in Linville, and literally they were sitting around their campfire drunk as fuck. And
Bears?
guess who stumbled
Oh.
into their fucking campsite? A gigantic black bear.
Wow.
One of my fraternity brothers literally shit his pants.
Of course. Why wouldn't you?
And they all ran away.
I was sitting in a campsite in West Virginia and a raccoon stumbled into the campground.
And you shit your pants?
I almost shit myself because my only assumption was that he was rabid, because why would he be walking up? But it was a pretty popular campsite, so he was probably just looking for food or whatever.
Probably.
And I screamed,
Like, please, sir, can I have some more?
Well, I screamed through a beer bottle at him, and
oh my god,
they're way more nimble than they get credit for. He ducked it and dipped
they're
into the
big
woods.
fat things, but they can dodge.
Yeah,
They can.
He was quick.
Dip, dive, duck,
He
dip, and dodge.
he rocket raccooned that right out of there. It was crazy. All right.
So back to the beast.
Yeah. So more people are seeing this beast, and another person described it as smaller and noted that there was, quote unquote, a little one just like it running beside it. So obviously the Beast of Bladenboro has babies. So we're starting to paint a picture here of possibly some sort of local animal.
Werebabies.
Werebabies, most likely.
That's it.
Another local heard some noises on his porch, and he walked up to the front door and was kind of listening through. I guess he didn't have a peephole, but he could hear a strange noise, quote unquote, like a baby crying. He couldn't see the animal from where he was sitting, but he could continuously hear this baby crying noise. And from the way he heard it walking around on his front porch, he said it had to be about 150 pounds. I'm guessing because he knows what a 150-pound person sounds like walking on the porch.
Sure. All right.
But then he saw it crash through the bushes. When he went to look through the window, he saw it crash through the bushes, and he said it was probably pretty large. One thing to note is, and I didn't know this until I started Googling around and looking it up, is that bobcats make a sound extremely like a baby crying.
Okay.
And bobcats are indigenous to this area.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like I didn't know that I knew that until you said that.
yeah, so bobcats are they're all over here. Like you see them in the woods all the time. I don't personally. I've never seen a bobcat.
I've seen one.
Okay, so yeah, so here they are.
I was surveying out behind Walnut Creek one time and just walked up on one.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
It was kind of scary. They're kind of big, but they're not that big. It's weird. They're like medium dog size.
mid-ish dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think from seeing this bobcat that you saw, do you think this bobcat could tear a jawbone open on a German Shepherd?
I mean, I don't know. See, that's tough
It's hard to tell.
bobcats are what, maybe 80 pounds or
Maybe.
so.
Yeah, probably somewhere in there.
But I don't know. But like an 80-pound feline wild animal against
could kill a human
an
easily.
80-pound canine domesticated animal.
Yeah,
I mean, bigger claws,
some nasty stuff could happen. Yeah.
bigger jaws. I don't know.
Look at like a 60-pound chimp against a 60-pound human.
Chimps got it.
Oh, hands down, it wouldn't even be a question. Chimps are insanely strong.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways, the local newspapers started freaking out. Everybody started freaking out. They all started writing about it, and this description found its way into a local newspaper. It was about 20 inches high, had a long tail. That the tail was about 14 inches. The color of it was dark. It had a face exactly like a cat, only I ain't never seen a cat that big. They didn't attribute who this quote was to, so I'm not sure. I mean, because being a journalist back then was easier because you didn't have to actually quote people.
Yeah. I mean, ain't is a thing I would definitely say.
Right. So
Welcome
anyways,
to the Southeast.
they said it was walking around, quote unquote, stealthily and sneakily. A group of hunters from Wilmington spent that night tracking the creature for 3 miles all around the swampland around Bladenboro. According to the hunters, the tracks showed claws of at least an inch long and indicated an 80 to 90-pound animal. The beast's circling movement suggested it might have had an offspring or a mate nearby, the hunter said. So they were tracking this thing through a swamp, and it just kept like leading them in circles. Usually when bobcats or these other animals, when they realize they're being tracked, which is pretty easy for a wild animal.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if you know this, but wild animals are super not stupid.
Right, exactly. Especially when there's a bunch of like good old boys stumbling around behind them in overalls and like shotguns being like, you killed my dog. And they're just like wandering around behind these things. Like, of course they're going to lead them astray.
Yeah.
So what they find is like out in nature, these animals will actually lead people away and lead them in like ever widening circles to bring them away from their babies, essentially.
Makes sense. It's like that video that showed up on the internet a while back of that mountain lion or whatever, like chasing that person. Do you remember seeing this video?
I didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah. There was this video that came out and there was like hikers terrified because mountain lion like chases them for miles away from the thing. If that
was like stalking them.
Yeah. It was like, not really.
Yeah.
It was not stalking this person.
If it wanted to, it'd mess you up.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch this video, this mountain lion had no intention of fucking this person up.
It's probably trying to guide them away.
It got them. They got unknowingly too close to their cub or something. And this mountain lion was like, I'm going to go ahead and escort you out of here.
Right.
Fuck around. I'm going to shit all over you.
Right.
But yeah.
Mr. Johnson, please, this way.
Please get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the Beast story.
So on January 5th, a little bit after all this happened, somebody witnessed the quote-unquote beast attacking a dog, and it drug the dog away into the swamp, and nobody ever saw the dog again. Tracks were seen along creek banks near one of the attack sites. There were 2 sets of different size prints. That evening, a local described a quote-unquote big mountain lion near some dogs 3 houses down. Mountain lion is a term that they use west of the Mississippi, basically, for cougars and panthers and stuff. And so, like, on where we are, they just call them, I don't know why they would say mountain lion, but like, it's, you know.
Yeah, it seems weird.
Old timey newspapers. What are you going to do?
Sure.
So this another time, this woman was out front of her house, and the creature, quote unquote creature, charged her, and at the last minute turned to flee when the woman screamed. Outside of her home, the local sheriff found tracks bigger than a silver dollar. So silver dollar
is not big
ish. No, it's not that big. So bobcat would be a silver dollar, you know?
Sure.
So also what you have to think about is during this time period, this is over, like we've been talking about now, over like, 10, 12 days. People are starting to get whipped up into a frenzy.
Yeah.
Every day this is happening, the newspapers in the area are printing like articles about like this Beast of Bladenboro, and like they're giving this thing a name. And
yeah, I mean, there's also no forensics. They're not measuring.
Right.
They're not like.
And the
did
mayor,
you get a picture of it? You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And what are you going to do? Snap like an iPhone photo in 1953 and 1954?
Yeah.
And the mayor of Bladenboro, who owns a movie house, is kind of like stoking the fires a little bit, and he's like trying to edge it a little for PR and make his town seem a little cooler.
Yeah.
So another person sees this kid named Dalton Norton sees the cat on his porch, and he hears it making a baby crying noise, which matches up one of the earlier descriptions, which matches up with the bobcat thing. So you start hearing these baby crying. And if you're listening now, like, I mean, maybe just pause, go over to YouTube and just Google like bobcat baby sound. And I listened to a couple, and it's like, it pretty much sounds exactly like a baby screaming. It's like kind of terrifying. So then right after all this, January 11th, 2 separate cars come very close to running over this animal that appears to be about 4 feet long. The way it was written, it seemed like the cars collided into each other, avoiding this animal. One of the men was quoted as saying the animal had, quote unquote, runty looking ears and was brownish and tabby. Tabby's a cat phrase,
Sure. Yeah.
Rewinding a little bit to when they first started, when the bodies of these dogs and goats started piling up, a half dozen brave youths, and that's the only way I've found that these have been described. So I don't know if these are like Boy Scouts or like frat boys, but a half dozen brave youths,
6 drunken country dudes,
right? Exactly, like local sons of farmers and their own dogs, basically took off on January 4th and spent 2 days searching for the creature, and then were later joined by a dozen police officers from the area. And so they spent about 24 hours traipsing through the swamp looking for this beast, who at this point was being called the vampire killer of Bladenboro in the newspapers. That was an actual headline.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's
like
fucking crazy.
So people are like, the public relations is blowing up on this.
Yeah.
After the night of a half dozen brave youths and about a dozen officers, the next night when they start talking to people, and what they did was every night that all the hunters would get together at this one part of town, and then they would go out into the swamps and look. And you ever seen those things where like they look for like a victim, or they look for something where they like all the cops and the volunteers spread throughout one field and they walk slowly?
Yeah.
They were kind of doing that.
Yeah, like I just watched that series on Netflix, Manhunt, Deadly Game.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they were searching for Eric Rudolph and Nanahala.
Yeah, they do that in one scene. So,
okay.
Anyways, these guys were doing this in the swamp, except no one was directing them where to go, and they were all armed and they were wandering aimlessly. So, recipe for fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first night, you've got 18 dudes walking around. The next night, when the meetup started happening, more than 500 people showed up with their dogs to hunt this creature. So we went from 18 to 500 in one night. So that's how much
fucking nuts.
That's how much the newspapers were like blowing this up.
Mayor was out here like, we need everybody with a dog and a gun. We need all y'all out here in the swamp looking for the beast, the vampire beast.
Exactly. And
that's probably exactly what that
and
dude
do
sounded
cocaine
like
about
too.
it.
Yeah. Bring your shine. Let's get hammered and hunt this thing. You.
I mean, I can't imagine, like, it is kind of stereotyping, but like I can't imagine that these weren't just a bunch of like good old boys with guns.
It was a bunch of bubbas in the
It had
swamp.
to be like who else is like, you know what I'm gonna do tonight? Go drunkenly hunt the Beast of Bladenboro with a shotgun.
It sounds like super fun.
I mean, like up to this point, you know, a handful of dogs have died. You're not gonna get like the butcher of town who has family, who's like, well, I guess I have to protect my children. If it's just a couple of dogs that have died on the edge of town. So there was something stoking this fire.
And this isn't probably around this same time. It's not the same way at that time that we view animals now.
No.
Like to me, I'm like, Steve,
we love our
is
dogs.
There has been a number of years that I've been like, Steve's probably the closest thing I'm ever going to have to a child.
Yeah.
People, what's this, 70 years ago? They were
no, your dog like lived outside.
Like, oh no, old Geller died.
They literally,
well, you know what I mean? They were just like, oh well,
they didn't sell dog food.
You killed my dog.
They didn't sell dog food in the grocery stores. Like dogs ate scraps back then. Like it was just like there was no, maybe that's better or not.
So when we think about doggies, we're like our children. But when they thought about doggies, they were like, I mean, I have a dog.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm guessing.
Maybe it's still here. I don't know.
Night
2, 500 people showed up with guns. Night 3, more than 1,000 people showed up with guns. Night 3, this is like night 3 of this happening. More than 1,000 people show up. And the local police are talking about putting out bait dogs tied up in the woods as like ways to lure this monster out. So they were going to just like tie up a bunch of random dogs throughout the woods and then have dudes with shotguns, I don't know, nearby, maybe.
and
that was the whole plan.
That sounds like a surefire plan to me.
Yeah, but apparently, like, because this was all so much in the newspaper, the Humane Society of Asheville, which, okay, I don't know how they heard about this or whatever.
1,000,000 miles away at this time.
Yeah, in the 50s, that's like a day away. The Humane Society of Nashville was like, this is not happening. And they sent somebody in a car to Bladenboro to shut it down, to just be like, this, you're not baiting dogs for a vampire monster wandering through the woods. And so they didn't do it. So I
wonder how the rest of North Carolina like looked down on this area and was just like, y'all gotta be a bunch of dumbass hicks.
Probably the way the rest of the United States looks down on Florida.
Or the entire Southeast.
Right, yeah. So
well, I guess now we do all kind of look down on Florida. Like anytime anything happens in Florida, we're just like, I am not surprised.
And as somebody from Florida, I agree with that, so
I know we have this saying around the Southeast where if anybody in earnest ever says bless your heart to you, it is not a compliment.
No, it's not. It's definitely
Take it from me, it is not. And I imagine like even the rest of the Southeast was looking at these people being like,
oh, bless your heart.
Lord, bless your heart. Y'all are just out here doing all kind of dumb shit.
After the night of where 1,000 people with rifles packed into a field to meet about how to hunt this, the Humane Society shuts down the whole bait dog thing. And then I can't imagine that somebody was like, yeah, okay, you can put my dog out there. But anyways, so the Humane Society shuts that whole thing down.
Whose puppy drew the short straw for this one?
Right. It's like Hunger Games, but with dogs. They're like, oh, shit.
This just sounds terrible.
And so I guess at some point the mayor looked around at these thousands of people wandering town with guns and was like, let's shut this down.
I might have fucked up.
Yeah. Like maybe it was a bad idea telling the newspaper that there was a vampire beast wandering the woods. So he decided that it made a little bit of a dangerous situation. And so what he did was, because if you remember, I mentioned he's the owner of the local theater house He owned a movie theater. He started running a movie called The Big Cat, which apparently at the time was one of the big silent movies that was popular. And he went around town telling everybody, instead of hunting the beast, come to the movie theater and see the big cat on the newsreel. And I guess what the Big Cat movie was just somebody had gone to Africa and filmed lions walking around, and that was the movie.
Cool.
Yeah, whatever. So
I mean,
I'd rather watch
smarter than what they were doing.
I mean, yeah, probably a lot. I mean, unless they brought their guns into the theater and like did that whole thing. Yeah. So the night after the hunt was called off, Luther Davis, a local farmer, was out walking his fence line, which is a thing farmers do, I guess. And
yeah, they have to make sure there's no holes in it.
Like every night. Like
yeah, I mean, they have to do it pretty frequently because, like, if you imagine, like, this would be a big thing for anyone who has livestock.
Sure.
Especially a big thing for like out in the Midwest where they have like a lot of like cows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have to watch the fence line because, you know, there's a bunch of reasons, wild animals, falling trees, whatever. And if the fence line gets broken, then your livestock will escape through it.
Sure.
So,
but this is why I have a 6 foot tall picket fence.
Right.
Which I guess would be wildly more expensive than if you have 30 acres or something.
Right. Because you would do like a picket and wire fence or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So anyways, Luther's out there walking his fence line. And towards the back of the fence, I guess somebody had laid out some traps for the vampire Beast of Bladenboro. And as he walked up, he found a bobcat trapped in the steel trap. And he proceeded to pull out his handgun and shoot it in the head.
Shocker.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you should do. I mean, honestly, if there's a bobcat bleeding to death in a steel trap, shoot it in the head.
So, well, they don't get hurt in these traps. The way that they're designed, it's like
the steel traps. I think these are the clamp down on the leg and rip it apart kind of steel traps.
That would be like
in the 50s.
So it depends. So my question here would be, what kind of trap is it specifically?
It just says steel trap. Everything I said just steel trap.
Yeah, so steel trap.
And there was a photo, and it looked like the bitey jaws,
like the bear trap cartoon bitey jaws.
It looked exactly like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's different because what they use now, especially up in the mountains,
sure,
because they'll trap like basically anything. They'll trap bears. They'll trap bobcats. They'll trap whatever, and then they tag them so they can track them and stuff like that. It's basically like, I don't know if you've ever seen like a raccoon trap or the kind of trap they use to trap house cats.
Oh, like the box trap.
Yeah.
Where they go in and it just shuts behind them.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And imagine that, except huge.
Oh, no, this wasn't that. This was like your foot gets stuck and it grinds it down to the bone.
Okay.
This is that kind of trap.
So if it's like a clampy clamp bear trap, or breaks the animal's leg.
It was that kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Shoot the thing.
It was the
box trap. I'd be like,
It was the chew your leg off to get away kind of trap.
Got it.
For
okay.
Sure, yeah.
All right. Continue.
So, anyways, he immediately shoots it in the head, and then he throws it in his car and he drives it downtown to show the mayor, because again, I guess that's what you do back then. And the mayor,
considering the part of the country we're in, it would make more sense if he strapped it to the hood of his truck.
Right, which he probably just threw it in the back of the truck. And so the mayor, Woodrow Fussell, the owner of the movie house, immediately declared the Beast of Bladenboro dead and told everyone around town that it was gone and dead. People like experts and vets in the area started asking questions and saying, was the small bobcat in the trap large enough to actually do any damage? Because it was a small to mid-sized bobcat. And looking at some of the other photos they had of the dogs that were killed, this size bobcat probably wouldn't have been able to literally rip a German Shepherd's jaw in half, you know.
Okay.
Maybe after death, like if you're eating, I don't know. I'm not a forensic dog ripping apart expert. I don't know.
Me either.
Yeah. It's a very specific niche. And so
that's a niche that's a niche occupation.
Yeah, that wasn't one of my electives in college.
If you are a whatever Jake just said,
yeah,
let us know.
If you're a forensic jaw rip apartologist, let us know.
Rip apartologist.
So anyways, so experts wondered if that was the right thing. And then later that night, one of the good old boys that was leaving town, this guy named Bruce Soles, was leaving Bladenboro, and he hit a larger cat with his car, just driving away, smashed into this cat. And he described it as spotted like a leopard and weighing over 90 pounds. He took the roadkill with him, and it was never seen by anybody else, but he did call and say that he did that.
He made burgers out of it.
Probably. I mean, leopard burgers, probably amazing.
I mean, I don't know, but chances are he ate it.
Yeah. At that time and that space in the world, there were no large spotted cats. That was unless it escaped from somebody's private zoo or something like that, unless.
I mean, was Tiger King a thing?
Right,
I was thinking the exact same thing. Was Tiger King a thing?
Yeah, if Carol fucking Baskin lived up there, it had her.
Carol Baskin, that bitch, Carol Baskins.
So,
Carol, you know what? I know who killed all these dogs. It was Carol fucking Baskins. I'm sold now. I know it.
So people kind of wanted to see this animal, but he kind of absconded with it, and nobody really saw it.
He was tall tailing it.
Possibly.
And he probably got drunk and hit a tree and then pulled his truck out of the ditch and was like, I'm gonna tell everybody I hit a cat.
Goddamn leopard.
Goddamn Carol Baskin.
But hopefully it wasn't a kid or something. Jesus.
Yeah.
So, anyways, all these reports account they all describe the Beast of Bladenboro as feline, but none of them really agree on any one species. There was panther, leopard. All these people were seeing.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be different sizes, different shapes, different head, different tail, different height, different coat.
Yeah. And there was a hunter from Wilmington who apparently he was like a well-known hunter, which is a thing too. S.W. Garrett. I don't know. Maybe Google him and let me know. He claimed to have heard the creature scream while hunting and said that it sounded like a panther. What his qualifications to know what a panther scream is, I have no idea. He's from Wilmington, but he was described as a famous hunter, so I don't know what that means. Another local resident claimed the beast had tracks like those of a dog, but said that they'd never seen a dog that large before. And a local sheriff was reported as believing the beast to be a wolf and said that he remembers when he was younger, old folks say they remember seeing wolves in the Bay Swamp area and talk about them being around every now and then. C.E. Kinlaw, which is a business owner in the area, described the creature as looking like a big mountain lion when it charged her. And another guy, Sam Colberth, the game warden of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, told a reporter that the tracks he investigated indicated it was probably a cougar. Other people described the animal as likely being a wolverine.
So an even smaller animal.
But tenacious. They are scrappy little dudes.
They are high on charisma.
Yeah. While others speculated that the creature may have been a wild police dog. There was
sure.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense.
You can just say that, I guess.
All right.
So here's a crazy thing that I found because I got super obsessed with animals dying in the area because it looked like basically pets and small farm animals were what were getting wrecked by the Beast of Bladenboro. And so I started looking at basically every year from 1800 to 2005. And so I started digging in, and what I found a pattern that is probably unrelated, but is at least interesting.
Okay.
So in September of 2007, 60 goats over the time frame were found dead and drained of blood across.
Wait, over what time frame?
Just in September
of 2007.
Yeah.
Okay.
So throughout September 2007, more than 60 goats were found dead and drained of blood across Lexington, North Carolina, not that far from Bladenboro. And Glenda and Bruce Floyd, owners of the goats, found them all early one morning.
That's Satanist cult.
Probably. 60 of them. Well, it wasn't all at once. It was like throughout a month. Like it was like 10 one night, 3 the other night. It was like, throughout a month.
All right.
So, I don't know, big gulp maybe.
Sure.
30 miles northeast of Lexington in Greensboro, farmer Billy Yao His goats were killed in the same manner. Their throats were ripped open and the bodies were mutilated.
So keep in mind, this is far from Bladenboro.
Yeah, like how far? It's like
100 miles
so green. Okay, so about 100 miles. So but it's also 50 years later
or more.
or more. Yeah. So it's about 53 years later.
Okay.
So then a month later, Bill Robinson found his 3-year-old pit bull eviscerated. Robinson buried the dog, but the next morning found the dog had been dug up from its grave. 4 days later, Leon Williams found his 2-year-old pit bull dead, covered in blood with pieces missing from the carcass with no sign of a struggle. I don't know how you find no sign of a struggle of a dog that has pieces torn out of it,
Yeah, that doesn't seem to make sense.
Yeah. So Brown, Midway, and Rutland roads in nearby Brunswick County saw the death of 10 different dogs during a 2-week period that month. And the tracks of the predator matched those that were originally described by one of the veterinarians during the whole Beast of Bladenboro debacle thing. Resident Robert Smith, no relation to the lead singer of The Cure, found tracks around the church and neighborhood gardens, and he said, "My fist could fit in them," and he'd never seen tracks like them before. Animal Services examined the tracks and droppings, but never determined the origin. Then I started looking at really old news reports from 100 years ago, and I found reports from between 1900 and 1903 in the southeast of North Carolina, near probably within 50 miles of Bladenboro, where several different goats and dogs were mysteriously killed. But again, those records are kind of spotty because it's some of them were mentions in ledgers. This was stuff I found at old library websites that were all electronic, put on electronic. And then going even further back to the 1850s, I found a couple of these weird pre-Civil War reports about livestock being killed in mysterious ways. A lot of that stuff, though, going back to the 1850s, could be locals killing each other's, goats or whatever.
Yeah, it could be a Hatfield and McCoy's kind of situation.
Exactly. I mean, or it could be it's pre-Civil War. It could be slaves fleeing to the north and hiding and killing something to eat. There could be a million explanations. But it's very strange that there's this I found this weird pattern of every 50 years in this spotty area that there was.
So you're saying in 1800, in 1850, around 1900, and then around the 1950s, there was more or less some records of some mass farm animals,
a dozen or more
dogs or whatever.
Mostly dogs.
Okay. Getting mauled or killed or ripped apart in some brutal fashion in southeast North Carolina.
Right. Very weird.
Yeah. I mean, the coincidence of it is weird.
Right. And it could be very much coincidental. It could also be these records popped up because of the pattern of looking for this time frame, but
maybe
it could also be that there's some sort of mythical devil beast killing people's dogs every 50 years.
Yeah.
But probably not.
Right. So what's the more likely explanation here? Is it that every 50 years some mythical beast turns into a werebeast and eats goats and dogs and stuff? Or could it be that it just happens to be that about every 50 years some particular kind of very large bobcat's food supply falls off and it has to start attacking domesticated animals? Or could it just be that every so often wild animals kill shit?
Right.
And
and it looks like a pattern.
Right. But it's not.
Yeah.
Because you think that they're not there.
Right.
They are, they're there.
They're there. And we are more in their zone more than ever.
Yeah. We are still living in their world. You know what
absolutely.
I mean, my parents live dead in the middle of North Raleigh, a very, very populated area.
Yeah.
And they'll see, I don't want to call it a herd.
Sure.
But it's 8 deer.
Okay.
Just run through their backyard randomly. That shit happens around here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
you don't think that there's wild animals all around you, but they are out there.
Oh,
you
yeah.
just don't know that they're out there because they
And-
don't want you to see them.
And it's the Carolina Panthers. That's like a thing, you know? And
I mean, it's a football team.
well, yeah, but I mean, it's named after the Panthers being like an indigenous species in the area,
Right.
you know?
But there are multiple species of very large cat
Absolutely.
that live
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
in this area. And like, what does it take? Every 50 years, a freakishly large bobcat just happens to, you know what I mean?
Like a Mike Tyson of bobcat, like
a Shaquille O'Neal of
right.
bobcats.
Like just one gets
you know what I
mad
mean?
and
just
it's
one
like,
happens to get to be 120 pounds as
It could
opposed
be.
to the typical bobcat that's like 80 pounds.
Could be, yeah.
You know, that's
Very
not
easy.
outside of the realm. Like, I mean, if you think about 100-pound bobcat, 120-pound bobcat, that could easily just completely destroy basically any farm animal we have around here. Because we don't have big farm animals like cows and shit.
Oh, yeah.
We have like goats and
Right,
chickens
right,
and dogs and stuff here. Like we don't have huge like Midwest size animals here.
And you think about like if a bobcat takes something down, once it's on the ground and it's eating it, it can tear jaws apart. It can rip things apart, you know? It's at that point it's trying to get to food. You know?
I mean, because if we're talking about like the stalking skills of like a typical domesticated dog versus the stalking skills of a gigantic bobcat.
Oh, not even comparable.
Chances are that dog was dead by the time it hit the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sure, once that dog's dead and it's not fighting, guaranteed that bobcat is going to tear it up.
So my dogs think they're super slick. I have like 3 idiot pit bulls and I've got a half acre in my backyard and I put the dogs out back. They honestly think they're going to get a squirrel. And like they chase after the squirrel and the squirrel, like I can see the squirrel laughing at them because it jumps up on the fence and runs the fence line and then doubles back and runs the other way and it teases them, you know?
Yeah.
And I've seen raccoons.
And they're not going to get caught.
No. And I've even seen raccoons, like big, stupid, fat raccoons. They jump up on the fence and disappear, you know?
Yeah.
And they don't have, like, my dogs don't have a chance to get them. And then if you think it's like the other way around, like an actual predator, like imagine a lion coming into my backyard with those 3 dogs, it would kill them instantly. All 3 of them would be dead in a moment.
I mean, the big cats that are here, I mean, they're big enough.
Plenty big enough.
You know, I mean, when I walked up on that bobcat outside behind Walnut Creek, which is like where all the big bands that come and rally, it's like our amphitheater here. I was surveying back there. And I mean, when I walked up on that cat, like it probably wasn't 50 or 60 pounds.
Yeah.
But I mean, I stopped and I'm like a 200-pound dude.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck, that's a big cat.
And they're different too. So it catches your attention a lot.
They're weird.
You know?
Their tails are very like puffy and like they're like, I mean, I'm not an expert in these animals, but like I could absolutely see if there was like, you know, what's that really big dog? The really
like
big
a mastiff?
Dog. Yeah. If there was like a mastiff sized bobcat out there.
That's a lion.
Yeah. It's a small tiger.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You can't even describe how terrifying lions are and tigers are to just humans. You know? It's, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard those stories of like, you know, tiger escapes and mauls or whatever.
In downtown San Francisco, that one jumped out of a cage and killed a couple people.
Or like, what is it? I can't remember if it was John McAfee or like El Chapo or somebody had that like giant compound in Belize and they had like alligators and tigers and shit out there. And then when they got arrested, they all got just released into the wild and started fucking up people's like dogs.
That's happened
and
in
stuff.
a bunch of places.
Really?
That's not like an unusual thing. Like it happens in Florida every once in a while where like some dude will get arrested and they'll be like, what are we going to do with this kangaroos and lions? And like, they're just out there then.
I mean, it's Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm not surprised. Florida man.
Right. Like just let his lions into the Everglades. The pythons will eat them. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, it's really wild how much wild animals kind of populate backwoods areas of places like Arkansas, Texas, Florida.
And I mean, it's the 50s and this is out in the middle of nowhere. Like, I mean, maybe a really rich person got arrested or some shit or tried to import a tiger or something. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe it was like an adolescent tiger or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And people are stupid. Like,
Agreed.
there's a reason that like human recollection and firsthand account is like not admissible in court. And it's because people are dumb, and we know people are dumb. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, human recall is trash.
Yeah. 100%.
So anything that you get from these people, and then, you know, who knows when the reporter got to them. It's not like they could call and be like, I saw the thing and it looked like this. You know what I mean? And they were taking that down. Like, it was like a day later or something. The reporter gets there and was like, tell me what you saw.
Right.
You know, they don't know.
He had eyes as big as saucers and he came down from the tree. Yeah.
His head was flat as a fritter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It just seems unlikely to me that it was anything other than just like a big bobcat.
Well, and especially in that area where the big bobcats, I mean, still to this day live, and there were panthers that are now kind of considered extinct that lived in that area in the 50s. You know, and they did live in that area up until the Civil War. I mean, there's reports of like Civil War soldiers who were walking home from war, like through North Carolina, that were mauled by panthers, you know. This is it's just a thing that happens. I mean, this can happen in cities too, where you're walking down the street and you're mauled by a dog. Like,
yeah,
you know, that's a thing that can happen also. And so that kind of brings me to this other thing that kind of came out about a year after all of it was kind of swirling around Bladenboro. There was a guy who came out who in the style of the times only gave his name as initials, A.R. Stanton, a man from Lumberton, North Carolina, was
home of the
convinced.
KKK in North Carolina.
It very much so is.
Yeah,
and which is why everyone only gives their first names as initials.
Yeah, right.
So let me rephrase that. Grand Poobah A.R. Stanton. No, I don't want to. Just kidding.
No.
Yeah, definitely not. And so anyways, so this guy from Lumberton had a pretty good idea that the beast was most likely his German Shepherd Hound mix named Big Boy that he had given to a local Native American who lived along the edge of town. Big Boy was dark and had a quote-unquote long bushy tail, and Stanton claimed Big Boy was quite capable of leaping over a 6-foot fence and killed chickens from time to time. Big Boy's vet, N.G. Baird from Lumberton, who knew the dog and had met the dog several times, said that it was, quote unquote, very feasible that Big Boy was responsible for all of these attacks. So clearly he knew the dog was a monster, you know, and this is his vet talking. The vet also went on to say that it was completely possible that Big Boy or any other dog could have killed the other dogs and lapped up their blood rather than sucking it. This idea kind of comes out of the blue about a year later. I don't know what A.R. Stanton would have to profit from coming out of the blue and saying he had a dog that he gave to a local Native American boy on the edge of town, and he probably killed everybody. I mean, I guess maybe he wanted to get his name in the paper, but maybe he did have some actual thoughts that this was possible. And then the paper went to the guy's vet, and the guy's vet was like, yeah, that dog is a killer.
Dog was basically a huge dick.
Yeah, he like
I don't know.
With zero hesitation, you know.
I still feel like that seems unlikely to me. A German Shepherd Hound mix did this much damage.
Right.
Like, even if we think that some of these stories of recall are hyperbole or they're embellished a little bit or whatever, I mean, I don't know. That just still seems unlikely to me. A really big dog did this?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what this dude motivation would have been to be like, my dog did it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that just seems very far-fetched.
Put me in the local papers.
Yeah. Chances are, like, this, I'm definitely a believer of the simplest explanation is probably the most realistic.
I searched the crap out of this guy's name and everything I could find. I found he has never appeared in anything aside from this one paper talking about his dog.
This dude wanted to be in the news.
But maybe.
You
like,
know?
I thought maybe he like owned a local business or something, but I couldn't find anything.
Because, like, I feel like if this was legit, there would have been a follow-up article or something to say,
You'd
we
think
went
so.
and found the kid, we found the dog,
Yeah.
and he kills chickens sometimes. You know what I mean? Or this dog is definitely a fucking
Yeah.
huge monster dog, like Hercules from the Sandlot, and murders people.
Also, if you think your dog is capable of being the vampire beast of Bladenboro that would lick up puddles of blood, why would you give it to a local Native American boy?
or why would you come out and say that's my dog?
Right.
I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, because it could have been a lot of things. I mean, maybe it was a bear that got separated hundreds of miles from its area. Maybe it was a huge bobcat.
Lots
maybe it
of
was
endless
a panther.
possibilities.
Like maybe it was a werewolf. Maybe it was a person. I mean,
It's not like it's like Las Vegas where there's no wild animals. Like this is where the wild animals are. Like, they're here,
Yeah. North Carolina is definitely where the wild animals are.
Bears, big cats, they're here, especially 50 years ago, actually 70 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're living in an area where there's literally an entire island that's protected because a herd of wild horses live on it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's if you like nature, this is your spot. But, there's animals and shit out there. So,
it's part of liking nature. You have to deal with that.
right.
I like the big boy theory. I like that there was just some random dog given to a Native American boy who decided to take vengeance upon the town of Bladenboro with maybe I could picture the boy being okay and leading this dog into battle. I don't know. Maybe they did something horrible to his family.
I don't know. It doesn't explain the second set of paw prints that are smaller though. Like that.
No, or the baby crying.
Or the baby crying. Yeah. Like that is very bobcat. It would make sense, like if there was a second smaller one, that it was a cub or something, and there was a bigger one.
Yeah,
like that just makes way more sense to me than this dude coming out and being like, "My German Shepherd Hound did it."
I also feel like if there's 1,000 dudes wandering the woods, a German Shepherd's gonna kind of pop his head up and be like, "Hey," I don't feel like a German Shepherd that was raised by a person and given to a boy is going to be fleeing from a bunch of hunters,
Yeah.
They're going to be into people, I guess. Maybe.
Plus, I mean, they wouldn't be looking for another dog.
That's true. I mean,
Probably.
with all the dogs they have out there, but then like he's the Hannibal Lecter of dogs, so.
I mean, I don't know. Out in the middle of nowhere, near a swamp in the 50s, there's so many reasons that this could have happened. And it's more likely that it's happenstance or coincidence that all these dogs died from different animals or in different methods than it was
possible.
One giant cat hunting all these dogs. Like that just doesn't really make sense.
I mean, it could have been one weird wild animal roughed up like two of these dogs. And the mayor was like, the vampire beast of Bladenboro, as a way to be like, come visit Bladenboro, in a weird kind of like PR twist that didn't work out very well.
Right.
Because he's also the guy who was like,
by the way, I'm showing Werewolf at my theater next week.
and was also like, there's 1,000 people here with guns. Can you guys please calm down? And he shut it down. He
probably actually was just like, I fucked up.
he like shut down the hunt. Like he shut it, like said, you can do this. So like, that's my theory, is that a couple wild animals did some stuff. Mayor got kind of too big for his britches and freaked out and then shut it all down.
Yeah, I pretty much concur with that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I feel like they did Big Boy dirty. I don't think he was the killer they made him out to be.
Big Boy was probably a good boy.
Probably. I would hope so. I mean, if you can give him to like some random Native American boy, just be like, here's my dog.
Yeah.
Could you imagine giving your dog to like some random person?
No.
My dog would be like, get back in my car.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't go with this random person.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, so that's essentially our story on the Beast of Bladenboro. If you happen to be from Bladenboro and know about this shit, let us know. That would be really cool. Sorry, we just talked trash about y'all for like an hour.
Sorry about your town.
But yeah, guys, thanks for stopping by and listening to our episode. Make sure you come back next week. We'll have something else crazy for you.
Follow us over on the socials medias.
Yeah.
And we're on the YouTubes and the Facebooks.
And the Discord. Come hang out on our Discord.
Yeah.
It's
so
fun.
In the description of the podcast you're looking at, there's a link to Discord. Come talk to us. Also, if you are from North Carolina and there's urban legends that you are into and you want us to know about, send them our way.
Yeah. There's some that I know about that I think we're going to talk about soon.
All right. Is it the brown lights?
No, I want to talk about some of the coal fire ones.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I saw some of that stuff.
Yeah, those
All
are
right.
kind of cool.
We're going to get into a lot of like North Carolina stuff, like which I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want to do like a local legends series.
We are.
So if
We're
you
gonna do
guys
that.
have legends you want to hear about, let us know.
Yeah. Also,
yeah.
we'll do more beer too at some point.
We will keep doing beer. But yeah, guys, thanks for stopping by. Come back, check in next week, and we'll see you next time.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Brewluminati. Our intro and outro music is written by Dungeness. Want to learn more about the topics we cover and who we are? Join us on Facebook and Instagram at Brewluminati Podcast for behind-the-scenes content and updates. Do you have mystical powers of insight or just questions, suggestions, and feedback? Reach out to us at thebrewluminati@gmail.com. Are you ready to immerse yourself into the inner circle? Visit patreon.com/Brewluminati Podcast. For the same price as a cup of coffee or sandwich you won't remember, because of mind control, you can join the Brewluminati and lift the veil on the true mysteries of the universe. Your membership to the Conclave unlocks access to our secret Discord server, bonus Patreon-only content, behind-the-scenes talks, and much more. Every dollar spent not only helps us reveal the truths of the world, but also frees us to make the show better, weirder, and allows us to go deeper and deeper into the void while funding our next beer run. When we're not talking conspiracies and beer, we're passionate about saving the forgotten puppies and kitties of the world. 10% of every dollar you donate goes directly to the Best Friend Pet Adoption Agency. They are a local 501c3 all-breed, all-foster cat and dog rescue that will save the life of a pet who never had a chance. Keep an eye out because we'll be posting pictures of the lives our listeners save. For more information on Best Friend Pet Adoption, head over to bfpa.org. Join us again next week for another episode of Brewluminati. We know you will, because again, mind control is real.